man, I feel super, super nauseous. Like, ugh. And I had just seen this video where this guy was talking about, I don't know, there's lots of doctors apparently who were talking about our bodies and the parasites. And he was talking about like hunger, the stuff that we think is like hunger pains, like this nausea, kind of gnawing at your stomach and stuff. That's really the parasites. That's what puts out the cravings, because they want sugar is one of them. And I've got a horrible thing with sugar. Like I'm always craving sugar. You know, I'm just like, oh my God, what the hell is inside of me craving this stuff, but it's making me feel so sick. So, but I'm trying not to eat. This guy who was talking about this, he said that he had been doing fasting once he was realizing what hunger was and stuff, and he was pushing himself to wait to eat till 4:30, and he had to push past this nausea and hunger pains and stuff, and he was gonna just start eating like from 4:30 to 9 o'clock at night. But I'm way more of like, wait a couple hours in the morning to eat, and then eat in like a block of time in the middle of the day, with your main meal being a midday meal, and then towards the evening not eating more. That is just like my natural body's way of wanting to do it. And it's so crazy too is how I keep hearing so many more people now tuning into their body. Well, like I saw this one girl, she was talking about it was like all over the place, eye color and dyes in our food, all the artificial stuff in food. She's trying to heal her eyes, I think. And so she was talking something about eye color and all the artificial stuff in our food. It was something that she heard somebody saying, you shouldn't think about eye color in a certain way. I can't even remember all this stuff. I'm really feeling so scattered today. I had like a few things that I was going to talk about, and it was like I could see it perfectly. And then as soon as I got to start, it's like, what in the hell was I going to talk about? And, but what I see so much of this energy of with people of their own stuff is coming to the surface, like all sorts of stuff, like so many people in all these different crises and stuff, so many relationships breaking up, and women having to be single moms, and like all sorts of dynamics going on with that whole thing, and with husbands and dads and visitate, like it's just nonstop, all of that kind of stuff. And that's each person's crises coming into to move them, to change their lives, to move them into a new kind of space. It's like a shuffle. It's like we're being shuffled around or something. And it's so, I don't know, it's just so weird. There's just so many things that are just so weird. One of the things, though, that I saw, because I've seen a few where I was like, oh, see, this is what people don't get, like how you're being shown things. Like it's kind of like a slap in the face. I saw this woman, and so she was out to lunch with somebody, and this guy was in there, at a table next to them, and she said he was nice looking, dressed up nice and stuff, and he was waiting for somebody. And then eventually this woman walked in who was kind of heavy set. And, I don't know, she said she was attractive. But anyways, so the man, she starts apologizing for being late. A man stands up, and gives her a hug and says something. Says he'll be back in a minute, and then leaves the restaurant. And she sat there and waited for a long, long time. And this woman was saying, like, ladies, you got to stop using filters. You can't go around catfishing people and then thinking that they're going to be excited to see you, like they've really gotten to know you. When they're getting to know you, they've already put a face. They put the face that you put. And then when you come walking in, then it shows a lot of things. It shows you're not confident in yourself. You're trying to show something that you're not anymore. Maybe it was somebody who you were in the past. I even see this like on TikTok. like the little face things, you know, and they'll put one on of them like 20 or 30 years ago. And then you'll go on and you'll see them. And it's like, man, they look so different. And so, like, you go and show up to a date like that. So it's kind of like this huge slap in the face. And that is how the universe shows you. You got to be real. You got to be authentic. You're going to keep getting slapped in the face until you start to love yourself and are ready to put yourself out there. No matter what the repercussions are. Either, you know, you're going to be loved, you're going to be hated, whatever. It's real. That is what, you know, we're moving into realness. We're moving out of this artificial world. And, you know, one thing too, that Bellagio, whatever it's called, you know, it's so funny too, the people I hear talking about it, they all talk like, you know, like I know Nike and Adidas and, let's see, Calvin Klein. I was like a big one. And now I'm seeing so many people talk about that whole thing with Brooke Shields, because I remember all that. I remember when Calvin Klein came, because before that was Wranglers and Levi's and then Lee's. You know, jeans weren't like there so you would be sexy. They were like different. And then all of a sudden they start marketing these sexy jeans and then marketing them on young kids. And then they do the whole thing with Brooke Shields. And then she was in Playboy, all that stuff, you know, sexualizing this 10-year-old girl or something on jeans. And, you know, look at how our society went all into it. And I believe that was like around the 80s too. I'm telling you, the 80s and 90s is when they really started plummeting us. And it seems like, you know, during the 60s and stuff and during war, and then there being so much of a clash because the wars are a part of the awakening to get people, like the awakening has been going on for a long, long time. This didn't just start. That's why, like, you hear people say, oh, I've been awake a long time. I've been awake my whole life. I've been awake, you know, because it's been going on the whole time. It's just noticing something and questioning your reality. The whole problem is so many people just stop there. They don't go further. But so many people seem to know this brand. So I don't know if it's a popular brand. I don't know if everybody bought the t-shirts and the jeans of this brand or what. Because I'm not a Kardashian follower anyways, and they are the reps. And then the other names I keep hearing too, it's like, oh, so they're also a rep on this thing. Like these names that, you know, all of a sudden you start hearing like these certain girls' names all the time. It was like around the Kardashian thing. And like, I don't know who these girls are, but suddenly they're all famous models, like superstar models. And then, you know, I started seeing like, oh, it's Instagram models. It's like people who go on, it's not like, you know, when I was growing up, these superstar models that were on the cover of everything, dating all the rock stars and stuff like that. They aren't those kind of models. You know, where the models used to be on magazines. Now they put actors on magazines. And so anyways, what was I going to say? Something about, oh yeah. So the people who keep talking about this brand seem like they know it and they're just like shocked. And, you know, why aren't these people speaking out and stuff? Like, they're not speaking out because they're a part of it. Like, what? Like, people are just like, they have to just beat it and beat it and beat it to just like get it to sink in. It's like, all you got to do is touch on this stuff. Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. Just keep on going because it's, you know, we're going through the sludge. You're going to stop and pick each little fucking thing apart and go through it. Like, it is a waste of energy and time. You just have to acknowledge, yeah, this is corrupt as I thought, and keep on going. I just saw, this was totally trippy. This woman, I keep seeing all these people I've never seen before. So one thing, it gives me new people to follow. But this woman was talking about this girl who she had started following these interviews a long while ago. And I think she said like 10 years ago she was following these interviews. And it was it was 10 hours. I'm horrible with this kind of stuff. But anyways, this African girl who was 8 years old. And she was she didn't call her voodoo, I don't think. But a high Satanist, voodoo, something. One of those dark energy. She was up at the top. Like, she was 8 years old and she was like the top. I can't think of what she called it. Not a witch or a warlock, but not a shaman. It was whatever, like voodoo priestess or something. And so she knew how to do all sorts of spells and all sorts of stuff. She had gone, in these interviews, she had said, you know, she had talked to Satan, and Satan is nothing like what people think. Satan is beautiful, gorgeous to look at, and when he opens his arms, music comes out, and that is how he is getting into people, through the music industry. And then she was saying something else. But this woman is now reformed, and so she started doing all these interviews. But she was casting spells and stuff from the time she was young. And so this lady was talking about the priestess lady was talking about the fashion industry and the music industry, that those two things, and those are the things right now so much up in our viewfinder, you know, because all the stuff with Kanye, whatever, with the music stuff and everything he's bringing up, and so many people coming out and saying more stuff. I've seen so many videos of so many rappers talking about the music industry before Kanye started saying anything. So, you know, that has been being talked about, the corruption, the cloning, all the stuff that they do. You do what they say and you make them money, and they want chaos. They want criminals and stuff like that. They even, this one guy, he was saying it was a whole group of them in this meeting, and they were saying that the promoters, the people who were paying the, you know, keeping the record industry alive, they also now own prisons, and they need those to stay alive. So they need the music people to go out there and create chaos and violence so that they can get more people to fill in their privately owned prisons. So that is, and that is where you say, like, these people who sell out, they go in and they say, okay, I'll do it. Just so that they can have money and fame, but they just don't realize how much your soul is being affected, and how much you be haunted by your soul, the guilt and stuff. And then what people will do with that, people will get worse and worse. And then however tuned in they are to the voices and stuff that are going on. Like, I think right now there's so much going on with them talking to certain people, especially if you have no like, somebody starts talking in my head, I will, you know, tell them to get out or whatever. Like, you have to have dominion over yourself, you know, and people just don't realize, like, we're not flesh and blood. We're not like these individual beings, like what they say. We're a part of an energetic source, you know, and we're all connected, and we're experiencing. You know, it's not about living, it is about experiencing and growing. So, and, you know, this was super interesting too. This girl who was doing this video was freaking out about it, but I thought it was so interesting. She said that she had seen something, I think she saw it on Twitter, I can't remember, but she said she had seen this thing about people getting comas. And so she started watching all this stuff, going down coma rabbit hole. And so what she had found was so many people, and I think it was a tweet or something, and all these people started commenting. Can't really remember all the details, but they were all saying while they were in their coma, they were just living their normal life. It wasn't scary. It wasn't a nightmare. It wasn't anything. They thought that they were alive, just living their normal life. There was nothing different. And some of them, this one guy was even talking about it. It's so weird because I have these memories of all of these certain things happening, but then they didn't really happen in this reality, because, see, your consciousness goes into other realities, other realms. It isn't like this is all real, like what we think. It is a dream. It is it's just an experience. And so the people in the coma who were not able to be in their bodies and live in those realities, they were living in a completely different reality that they thought was the same reality. And see, I have that stuff happen all the time. like in my regular life, like where I say, it's very much your reality is what you're focused on. Because I'll switch and go to different ones, and then you go back to the original one, and then it is like, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm living this life. I do that all the time. Like sometimes I do it several times a day. Like I'll look around, like, wait a minute, okay, where am I? What am I supposed to be doing right now? Okay, and Stella is something that really grounds me. Stella is something that pulls me back into this reality all the time. And I think, when you're isolated like that, when you're alone, that it is, it is something that you do need something to ground you back. Unless, you're just stressing all the time and, you're very focused on the 3D, but you're just feeding it all this stress. And I just saw this other thing too, talking about this dark crystal. And this was a whole bunch of different things that this woman had put together. But this dark crystal under Hollywood, and that is feeding the chaos or something, this whole thing. And that is the magical world, that we live in, is way different than what we think. And another thing too with the let me think for a second, because there was like a couple things merged in it one time, and like a little car wreck happened in my brain. Let me think what it was, because it was like a couple of things. I swear, I just feel so scattered. And one thing too is I see these people, talking about their own situations, because everybody's truth is coming to the surface. There's a huge part of my truth that is, this quantum entanglement thing or something. So I have, I can't me telling myself my truth or whatever, it leaves it open until somebody confirms my truth. And so, and I think a lot of people are getting confirmation. Like, people are getting confirmation. Yeah, your husband doesn't love you or your kids. Your husband only loves himself. People are getting confirmation. Yeah, being a single mom is difficult, and probably shouldn't just take relationships at such a surface level. That has been the issue for us for so long. And I swear to God, I think it was around the 80s. I mean, in the 70s, there was commune and like love. Like, they went through this whole sexual revolution where there was like orgies and stuff like that. But I don't think it was depravity like what we have now. I think that it was more like, this touching and like loving and experiencing one another, kind of like that. Not this like, okay, go dress up like a puppy and come out here and I'm going to walk you around on a dog leash and humiliate you and like take you to a crowd and let everybody handle you and stuff. Like, it's gotten so much more depraved and pervy what people do, like even with sex clubs and all this stuff. And that is, that's the loss of their soul, because your soul would be telling you, like, don't do that. That's, you're going to feel bad. You're going to not feel good about yourself if you go and do some of this stuff. And then people keep forcing it, trying to, break that out of them. And it's like, you don't want to break that out of you. You want to listen to your soul when your soul's trying to give you guidance, because it's not like, it isn't just like, oh, well, that stuff's bad, that stuff's wrong, that stuff, it isn't about right or wrong, good or bad. It is, there's certain things you will do that you put your soul aside that are going to make you feel like shit. And, and I believe Tinder swiping is one of them. And I keep seeing, yeah, it is weird too, because it's almost like people are kind of shocked. Like, they expected more from, somebody swiping right or something. It is like, you're really putting no effort into anything. Like, all you've done, like, a guy has put no effort in whatsoever. He swiped, you swiped, and then a conversation started. That was it. That's all he had to do. He didn't have to wine and dine you or something. you know, it was, and people just, you know, that catfishing thing, or whatever. And I don't know that the lady catfished him, but obviously she didn't look like what he was expecting. And I did go on a few dates before when I very first split up. I went on a few dates because there always is, all these people are like, you got to get back out there. You got to date. You got to go on a dating website and stuff. Like lots of people will tell you to go on a dating website. And so I went on, I don't even remember what it was. I think I went on a few. Like there was Match.com or something. I think I did Tinder, and what was the other one? Plenty of Fish. And then, you know, I went on a couple of dates and went and talked, you know, hung out with people. And it was just like, ugh. I'm just not into this forced kind of like, hey, let's go meet. Hey, I like your picture. Let's go meet. You know, it's just weird. I think that you meet more organically. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think things have to be so forced like that. And especially like, it's like shopping around, you know, and putting all this expectation like, well, you know, this thing about me or whatever. It's just as weird too. I just had some stuff pop in my mind, like this. I don't know. Like people are just weird. Like it's just it's a weird way to try and get to know somebody. If you ask me, to just go on there, and just because some of the stuff that people said, like this one guy. And his son was a tattoo artist. I was a tattoo artist in my, you know, in my pictures. You could see I had lots of tattoos. And this guy, he was older, you know, he was interested in going out with me, but he was really short. And I said, you know, I don't want to go out with someone who's short. Oh, sorry. He was so offended. Like, why would I go out to get to know somebody if I'm already, like, I'm not, you know, I don't care if that's shallow. I don't want to. It is something for me, like it makes me feel strange. Like I've gone out with lots of guys who are short. I've been married to guys who, you know, but in my family, I came from a family where I wasn't the tallest. You know, I had big giant brothers and cousins and stuff like that. And then, you know, anyways, it's just like, you know, I don't know. I just think it's strange. And I think it's strange how our whole society has just like adapted to this like free sex. Like it's so progressive. You know, I'm so in touch with myself. I'm so empowered. I just go out and freely give my body to whoever wants to experience it. And then, you know, we have these problems with, you know, dead babies, you know, and all that stuff coming out. Like with it in our food, and so that stuff, there's just so much that keeps coming to a head. But like this Bellagio, whatever the fuck it's called, is like I don't know if it's a designer. I think it's one of the designers. Yeah, people keep sharing these pictures. This girl is warped as shit. She's all like, she looks like you know, she went to Carrie's prom or something. Like someone just poured blood all over her, and she's holding two babies, one in each arm, and they're also covered in blood. Like, so many of these people have such weird, disturbing symbolism and stuff, and all of their photos, like on Instagram and all that stuff, with babies. It's just, and it has been in our face, but, you know, people are running around trying to get like, oh, Kim Kardashian says this is a cute outfit, I better run. Kylie says I better get this lip gloss. You know, Chloe says, you know, if I wear this bra, I'm going to look better. You know, it's just like, oh my God, it's so fucking shallow, and these people are so warped. And it's just so crazy how they follow these people, but they don't even know who they're following. And as it's all coming to the surface, they're just like freaking out. It was like, well, I don't know. I say you gotta let go and keep it moving. because, yeah, you were shallow. You were following shallow, disgusting, disturbing people who do disgusting, disturbing things. And yesterday really was getting me too, because I was thinking about, like, because of these TikToks what people keep showing and saying, and it's disturbing. Like, one thing, like, I think every third video is somebody saying, go watch Died Suddenly. Like, and I'm sure we're not going to be able to talk about that for very much longer. It's going to be washed away. I'm sure they're doing their best to watch it, because so many people, both un and have been, and I saw somebody talking about who had, and she was saying, like, even though it's so scary, you really need to go in and watch this, because we need to know what we're dealing with, and you need to start detoxing. You need to start getting this shit out of your system. And all of us have this, no telling what is inside of all of us, like, there's no telling. I mean, we got worms telling us to go eat fucking sweets. I don't know. Like, this is so, it's just, it's so fucking weird. But there was something I was about to say about that. Was there something about this girl that I was about to say? This post. Oh my God. See, I am so lost in my own, and the weather here is so crazy, and the sounds, and I just saw this guy yesterday. Oh, what was that? Yesterday I just said, about how loud everything is. I think I've been saying this for months, but how it's becoming so loud. Like, it's weird. And even when I was in Spokane a few months ago, and I was like, man, don't y'all think the planes are so loud? Do you ever remember planes being this loud? And everybody be like, well, I don't know. Like, nobody pays attention. I mean, literally nobody pays attention to stuff. And so everything is so much louder. So I've been talking about that, and how weird it is, like, to me, like, neighbors don't come out and look at stuff. And there is all sorts of weird sounds in the sky and stuff, like, just weird stuff. And so I saw this video, it might have been this morning, and this guy, he's always talking about the sun stuff. He was or sky stuff, moon stuff, all of it. And he was showing the Mount Rainier footage that is, it's pretty spectacular, the sky footage of that. But he was saying something about the magnetosphere, and he showed a lot of stuff. Like, he's always showing something with the this energy, this magnetic, I'm pretty sure he calls it magnetosphere or something. So he has stuff like that I had never heard of, and he talks about the pole shift, and he shows all sorts of different stuff in the sky, or something called sprites, and all sorts of stuff. But he was saying that that is what he was showing a bunch of articles. So planes are just falling out of the sky, and it's something with the electric magnet, whatever, something going on up in our atmosphere, and that is what's making things more loud. So I don't know, because to me it seems like everything is coming down on us, like the firmament. And it seems like this big planet, like, I knew I could see something, because I'm telling you, when I was driving, it was weird. I kept feeling like somebody was right here, and I have to keep turning and looking. And I kept seeing like this big shadow, and I kept being like, that is so weird. Like, I can feel this in it. Like, I can, it's like somebody's standing right next to you. Like, if somebody walks up and stands there, most people can sense it. So it was feeling like that. Like, I was sensing this presence that was right on me. And then, yesterday, and I kept trying to get footage, but they were covering it so much, and they make it so bright you can't look up. But there was so thick of a cloud. They have more open sky, but it was such thick cloud coverage. And so then I saw this other guy somewhere else showing footage of, he was trying to show all of the spraying, and but you could see the sundog, or whatever you want to call it, what the people call it. It looks like a big planet or a big eyeball. It's like a big shadow, this big purple shadow behind the sun. And so I got that footage, and it totally shows like this big shadow thing up in the sky. So to me, it's like this thing is coming. And there's something in the prophecy about the two suns, and something about the moon was going to disappear, something. And the other day I said over in Yakima that the moon, it was weird because it was so bright. It was a crescent moon. It was so bright, and it was right above me when I would go out and walk Stella. It was like 5 a.m. And then I was like, man, the sun, the moon, if it was truly on this rotation, like what we were taught in school, it should be down, like the sun is coming up. So if it's shifting like this, like if they're going around, like the moon and the sun are going around, like, then it should be shifting. The sun should be coming up and the moon should be going down, but the moon is right above me. So what's it going to do? Drop real quick, which people have caught footage of that, of it just going or disappearing. And so this, being up there, and then it was up there for 2 mornings, and then the rest of the time, no, nothing. It was gone totally. And so, I don't know, but it seems like to me for sure, like if the firmament is becoming more heavy, if it's our energy as people wake up, that we are, energetically pushing out, like, and this is pushing in, like, I don't know. I swear, I think it is going to be something in the sky, but I still don't know if it's going to be later on. Like something's going to happen in the sky with the firmament, I think, and when the ice wall and stuff. I think that is something about releasing our energy to out into other dimensions because we're like contained. So I think it's going to be, but I don't know if it's going to be like right now, as but everybody keeps getting their truth or whatever things are happening in their lives to push them into their healing, into their realizations, into making different moves for themselves. So, that stuff keeps going in. Another thing too is that Great Awakening poster, which I kind of really want to get it now. I think it's like $30. But a lot of people have been getting it and sharing it, but they take that down too. They don't. That's one thing they don't want people to see about. And I don't even know who put it out. It seems kind of like a cute thing to me. But so if that poster, they don't want people to see, but there's so much little writing. But it has the Great Awakening in the middle, and then it has solar flash up towards the top. So this solar flash thing is going to, there's going to be a solar flash at some point. And is that going to be the cataclysmic event that, why we have to be consciously aware of ourselves? Because if we're not consciously aware of ourselves and an event happens like that, then we think that we die and we just go out of this existence or this reality or realm. But if something happens, some cataclysm, and we have awareness of ourselves and our consciousness, just like I said, if I were to crash in that torrential downpour, that I had the awareness that I would just be like, oh, okay, bye, Kelly. And come on, Stella, let's go, and get up and walk out of there and find where we're supposed to be next, It isn't like it's over because Kelly's gone, Kelly did her purpose and it was done. That experience to see who and what Kelly is done. And it isn't even like your higher self. It isn't even Kelly, because my higher self is, I'm just an aspect of my higher self. I'm not my whole higher self. I'm just like a cell of my higher self. Like we all have millions of cells. Now your higher self has millions of experiences to understand itself. So it's in millions of dreams all the time, so you're just a dream of your higher self. And so, but to me, it seems like becoming conscious energy, aware of itself, free from your higher self, develops you into this God-like, what this concept of what we think of as gods. It develops us into this like God kind of thing, because we become separate as an individual, separate from our higher selves, but we're still in contact with our higher selves. So it's like a thought, like you have a thought that becomes its own reality, if you get what I'm saying. Oh, but the other thing, it just came to my mind again, whatever it was I was telling that I cut myself off, I started saying it, and then it does it again. Like it was something somebody had said, and I was telling this story of something, oh my God, how does it just come in and go out so fast? Man. And I swear I am so burnt out on being woke up. Oh my God. I swear. And putting on that meditation, the ocean waves, and laying there and tuning your brain into that while you sleep. Oh my God. It is so much. It really puts you into a deep sleep like that. When they say that on those things, deep sleep in 3 minutes, like they're not shitting. Like it really pulls you into deep sleep. And then when she gets up and she wants this or that in the middle of the night, it's like, oh my God, I'm so out of it. So I don't know if, that's what's going on with my mind, or if it's just the energy everywhere. It's the chaos. Like all these people around me who aren't asleep, I just can't, like, it's so strange. And that's one thing I was saying, though, the weather here is so weird. And it snowed the other day, and they keep trying to do these wind things. And it's just like we have one weather system after another. It's just one after another after another. It's such manipulation. And this week, apparently, they're going to flood the Mississippi. And so they have it all zoned out. And it's going to be curious to see how much it matches the doomsday map, because they had already dried it out. They pulled the water. Who knows what they did with it. And the Mississippi was dry. And now all of a sudden there's going to be flash flooding, tornadoes, all sorts of stuff. They're about to hit the Midwest, the Southwest, the Southeast. The Southeast and the Midwest. That they're about I think it started yesterday with the storms. And so that's going to be going, for how many ever days they're going to do. And I know it is just, trying to kill people. And I kept, my son-in-law in Yakima, he works with the homeless community, right? And so every day I would be like, was there a bunch of homeless people dead? And he said, nope, nobody was dead. And they have like like circus tent or something where they're housing the homeless. So they're just still outside in this giant tent thing. But I think there's heaters and stuff in it, and they're feeding them. But he said there was one person who was dead the other day. And it seemed like natural causes or something. But, you don't... All of this stuff is being done on purpose to work on its own self and, reduce the population by a huge amount, especially because, they don't want us to wake up. But I really want to get that poster and see what is on all of this small writing, because a person who I saw said, I've seen several people talk about it, but that everything, it shows all the stuff that's already happened, stuff that is happening right now, but it shows what is going to happen. And so, that can give more clarity. Like, I know for sure everything is changing. I know for sure, it's the end of this old age. And however it's going down, and it seems like it's going to be, dramatic. I just can't even... believe. Oh, that's what. Yeah. So this thing yesterday I said, because of all of the Bellagio, whatever it's fucking called, stuff about that company and the fashion industry and the corruption and all the handlers. And it's the same thing as like when they call kids in to do these auditions, you know, let's bring in millions of kids. They do the same thing with the fashion industry and designers and stuff, and pull in all these young pretty girls, and then they end up just being victimized by these weirdo creepy people. And then, you know, God bless you if you don't have a good support system at home, then, you know, you're probably going to be ritual done, you know, with you. So it's just so much evil. But so yesterday I was sitting there thinking about that, and I was thinking about with the Christians, because, you know, Jesus says that, you know, all you got to do is say his name and you're forgiven. So it doesn't matter, you know, if you just went in there and slaughtered a family of 10 and with triplets, infant triplets, you know, you just go in there and senselessly murder. As long as you come out and you say, Jesus, please forgive me. I mean it. I screwed up. I don't know what's wrong with me. You know, just, you know, give me another shot. I'll do better, you know. And then that person's forgiven. Is all they got to do is mean it from their heart. Like, I really am sorry, you know, please forgive me. So I was just asking, like, the Christians, like, how does that set with you? Like, the crimes, like, this is more to the awakened Christians, not the ones who, you know, are clueless about what's going on in the world. But, you know, when you know about what these people's crimes are and you know what these people have done, how does that set with you? Are you okay with that? Like, if they just go and say, oh, Jesus, forgive me, all's good, all's forgiven. Because to me, that is just, it's ludicrous. I don't know. I'm way more of an eye for an eye, you know, and I know that the balance, like, it's not up to me, but I do believe that there is a huge thing about justice and about putting things right. And funny enough, you know, it is weird too, because when you think about like zodiac and your name and all this stuff, like trying to figure out who you are, and like how my name means warrior of love, and then I'm a Libra moon, which is all about putting things into balance and justice. And so that is a strong component to how I feel. I feel like, and that is, I think, probably why I watch so many of those crime shows, because I want to see justice. I want to see people get what they deserve. It bothers me, you know, people doing things and not getting what they deserve. I saw this really sad one yesterday, and this girl, she said she was 4'11", and I don't know, 110 pounds or something. She was a really small person. And she went to get this massage, and the guy was 6'2", 315 pounds. And he assaulted her and did the whole thing. He did it all. And she got away. She went to the hospital. She got tests done, and she, you know, all the tests were sent and all that stuff. And so now she said that the test came back and said negative. There was nothing that happened. Like, this is the absurdity of the world we live in. This is what, you know, and everybody's story is very unique and very, it's what they're here to learn, what they're here to obtain in their, you know, knowledge. And so now the judicial is telling her that they are not going to press charges, that the guy's free, and there's nothing that they can do, and there's nothing she can do, and all this stuff. And it's just like, again, hers isn't the only story that I've seen like this. There's so many people dealing with just absurd shit with the judicial, absurd shit with the medical, absurd shit with education in the schools and what's going on there. Like, it's just one after another, you know, and then people, you know, continue to try and make it work, or, you know, to me, it's like they keep giving compressions and breath to this old system, this old way of life, this old state of being. And like, I've had a few people in my TikTok comments, like, asking me, well, what would you do? Like, what would you do about school? That seems to be one a lot of moms are like, well, what would you do? And to me, like, I would quit thinking, like, it's the reprioritizing of education, of time, of knowledge, all of that. Like, you got to start looking at it differently. Are there kids coming out of school who are ready to go out into the world and take care of themselves? I don't think so. They're coming out of it as dependent, mind controlled, a little angry, bitter, whiny. Like, they're not educating them into a productive human that can take care of themselves. They're doing the opposite. So right there, I would look at that and go like, okay, I'm pulling free, and I'm going to start educating my kids the way I think, not the way that they are doing it, because they're not doing it right. And so that to me is the main thing, is to recognize what is important to you. What is important? What did you feel like you needed to know as an adult? What kind of things does your child need to learn from you? Not what does this child need to be indoctrinated with to become a good slave for the system. So, but that is, people get all like, well, I can't take my kids out of school. Like, they'll just be losers or something. And it's like, that is you, or you're coming up with that. You're deciding that someone's a loser if they didn't go to school. Like, it shouldn't make any difference, There's plenty of smart people. There's plenty of smart people who didn't go to American school, and smartness, I think that they're more trying to beat the smartness out of people's minds than put it into it. Like, they're doing the exact opposite. In the medical, same thing. And people just keep going back. So all their stories, of what's happening and what doctors are doing, what nurses are doing, what hospitals are doing, what offices are doing. And it's all just showing. It is just all this absurdity, all this stuff coming to the surface, because that is the truth that they need to go through. And that truth will lead them to learning how to love themselves, this sovereignty, this independence, this freedom of control. But, you have to go through the process, and everybody's got such a unique process that it is, it's hard to put it all together for, every single person, because everybody has their own unique, like, just know that story that lady was telling about that girl going on a date, that was a significant thing in that woman's life. And she may go on several more, like, to find our bottom is it's a independent thing too. How long we'll keep trying to fight against, force things to be what we want them to be. Talking to somebody and putting a different picture, and then going and showing up and not being the same as your picture. Like, this person thinks like that's no big deal. Does it have to happen to you? Like, at what point do you start having compassion for what it is you're putting out? What energy are you putting out? Are you accepting of that if it was being returned to you? Like, if some guy, because I did have that happen too, where somebody came and they looked so much different. They were so much shorter and so much heavier than what people can be very manipulative with their pictures, and people lie about their height. They lie about their weight. And it's not just women. Men do it too. Like, it's not just women who are insecure about their looks. Men are too. And, they don't have as much with the filters. They're kind of stuck. They kind of have to humble themselves, but they will get shots, and they will lie about their height and stuff like that. And it may not make much difference if you're a 5'2" girl, and if somebody is lying and saying they're 5'9" when they're really 5'7". But if you're 5'8" and somebody's telling you that they're 5'9", and you go and then they're really 5'6", it's obvious, like, you're much shorter than me. Like, should we go in and measure, or do you not know how tall you are? Should I help you? Maybe we can edit your profile. So anyways, I was always kind of paranoid. I was going to make sure people saw exactly what I look like. and not want any of those things where you show up and the person's like, ooh, you don't look like your picture. So, but what does it take for different people to have to experience that? And and everything is just to lead you to your best self, even though it's a painful journey, even though like that would hurt that person, to have somebody get up and leave from this date and sneak out, like how horrible. And that is going to hurt. And then you got to go through the process. You got to go through the pain. And there's, that is how it goes down, is through that way. It's not like nice little things. No, you've got to see the darkness. You got to see the part of yourself that you are in denial or blinded to. You have to see that side of yourself. And that is what the universe is trying to show you. And so, it really depends on your willingness to see yourself for who you are and, accepting yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with having these other sides to yourself. There's nothing wrong with wanting to put your best picture up there, wanting someone to like you for who you are. But you have to start recognizing the pieces and how they all go together. And, nobody's going to like you for who you are if you're not putting your real true self out there. It's like you have to take that risk to show yourself, and whether somebody likes you or not likes you, you can't get all caught up in that. You can't be like, it shouldn't have as much effect on you like that guy, like, that I've never even met the person, but I don't want to go out with somebody who is shorter than me. Like, I've done it. I just don't want to do it. And so, they could be like, well, thank you for your honesty, because I want to go out and start dating somebody and start liking them. And their whole time they're sitting there thinking, you're short. If you were just a little taller, you know what I mean? So to me, and it has nothing to do with somebody's height. That is all, my own thing. That to me is, I'm just more comfortable. When I was growing up, I had cousins and brothers and dads that were all bigger than me. And then, I started dating and I'm like the biggest one in the relationship. It makes me feel weird. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like that is okay. So I can realize, like, I really don't want to go out with somebody who's shorter than me because it makes me feel like I'm a big old goon or something. And I've gone out with people who are shorter than me. And it has always been something that was insecure to me. Yesterday, or when I was in Yakima, and I was talking to my daughter and her fella, and we were talking about, I think we were talking about bullies and weight issues and how people are mean to kids in school, I was saying it's not just overweight kids that get bullied. I mean, I was tall, skinny, gangly, awkward. We all get made fun of. And, like I've been called to Amazon and, all sorts of stuff back when I was younger. And so what if I want to be around a partner who is taller than me? That's like, I think that there's nothing wrong with some of the stuff. Like, and it's individual. If I thought it was wrong, then that would be up to me. It's not up to somebody else if they think it's wrong. If somebody else thinks, oh, well, you're shallow, you should just go out with somebody short. Maybe you're missing out on love. Yeah, maybe I am. Because I'm always saying, like, about the gay and straight thing. Like, I think that the limiting beliefs hold some people back from their real love story. And that is what they're here to learn. And it isn't about, gayness or straightness or something like that. It's about love. It's about your limitations. And so it could very well be. And I'm not saying, like, if I went and I was face to face with this person and my soul told me, my eyes met their eyes and I was like, oh, I remember you. Oh, okay, so we're supposed to hang out together. And that was supposed to be my true love, then that would be my truth. That would be, and that would be my stuff that I was here to overcome. To not feel like a giant Amazon if I'm around somebody who's shorter than me. Like, especially if it's a guy. So, that is, I would have that awareness. I would have that, so I would follow that path. I would go into that, it's all in your eyes. It is your soul knows. Your soul knows what it is supposed to be doing and who is supposed to be doing it with. And sometimes, some of us have to wait for the other person's soul to catch up, and tell them, like, they have to come into their own, what is that called? It's like their own confirmation. They have to go through their own confirmation to figure out, like, what is going on, or who am I supposed to be with, and what does it mean, if I keep seeing this person or wanting to talk to this person and stuff like that. Like, I'm just I don't know, I'm way more of a it was funny too, guys. I think this is something my granddaughter said to me, and she was like, why did you already blah, blah, blah? I can't remember what it was. Why did you go and do blah, blah already? And I said, because I'm not a procrastinator. Like, I get shit done. And that is just like how I live my life. Like, somebody, as soon as I felt like I needed to talk to this person, I was like, I got to talk to this person. I'm going to go talk to this person. And that's just how I am. Like, and I don't know, I guess, life is trying to show me, like, I need to slow down, and, there's other things that are going on, and you have to allow that. You can't just jump in and force things. You have to allow things to unfold, allow things to happen the way that they're going to happen and play out. And so, I don't know. I just know that we all have different things going on. And, it's very, very, distinct and unique, each different person's thing. Because you wouldn't think that some of the things that you hear and see happening in people, that you would think, like, they're crises, they're horrible, like, but really they're the catalyst for change for them. It's their catalyst. It's their world blowing up, so that they can be the phoenix that comes out of the ashes. And so, no matter how anybody's stuff is playing out, that you just, don't devalue your own stuff, because there is a lot of worse things happening all around. Everybody's got their own things happening. And so anyways, just whatever it is that's happening for you, just be able to look at it from the other side. Look at it like, what could I be learning from this? What is this trying to motivate me to do different? How do I need to see this? And I do that too. I'll ask my guides all the time, what are you trying to show me? How am I supposed to see this? What is it and tell them. If you don't understand, say, look, I don't get, like, what it is you're trying to show me. You got to give me clarity. You got to show me more clearly what it is that I'm supposed to see here, because I'm really lost right now, and I don't get what's happening, and I don't understand why it is feeling like everything just keeps falling apart, and I don't know how to get myself out of it. So, talk to them like they're real people sitting there in the room. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not sitting there listening to you. And they'll give you signs, but, just everybody right now, I just think everything is just really going to start, like the popcorn, if you've ever made popcorn in the oil in the pan, and it starts, and you're sitting there forever shaking it, waiting and waiting, lifting the lid. And then finally one little kernel goes, and then another one, and then about, I don't know, by the time it gets to about 10, then it just starts going and going and going. And I think that is like what is going on. Like, it's just, now it's just going to start going and going and going and going and going. Like, it's just been building up and building up. And, there's no getting away from it. Every single thing around us has been artificial corruption to control us. So to me, that's all you need to know. Like, there's pervs at every corner. They're all around us. And, but it's the end. It's the end of it. It's the end of an era. And, there's people who've played some bigger parts, and they've got to, deal with their part in whatever has happened so that they can cleanse themselves and let go, And I think a lot of people, are going to have some problems with it, just from what I see on TikTok when people are talking about what's going on in their life. Just so many people are just so stuck. They just don't know what to do. They don't know how to get through it. They don't know how to get past it. They just feel like life is just, like they're just a victim to life. And that is what has to change. That is what, it's our way of looking at things. It's a way of perceiving. It's our way of growth, of evolution. And, you got to acknowledge your part you're playing, because you are playing a part. And so anyways, I don't know that I said anything that made sense. Again, I still feel so scattered. One good thing though is I keep hearing so many other people saying the same thing as me. Like, it just is weird. Time is weird. Reality's weird. Everything is weird. I feel weird. Like, I feel like, like it's more and more where you just are like, this isn't real. Nothing here is real. Like, this isn't real. Like, it's weird. So anyways, have a good day. And just no matter what it is that happens, just keep trying to look at the brighter side. Like, what could you be learning from this? What is this trying to bring up in you? What are you trying to purge out? And just let go of stuff. Don't hold on to it. Don't judge yourself. And that's where people are going to get really stuck. They're real quick to judge everybody else. And they're going to get real stuck on judging themselves and feeling like a horrible, horrible person, once they see the truth. So anyways, we just got to stay strong for one another and really live by that, not judging others. And it's hard. Like, it's so hard. But we got to, let everybody process this world in their part that they played. And, there's a lot of darkness that's got to come out. So anyways, stay strong, and I will talk to you later.